Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining. We're so excited to kick off the second webinar in the Off-Campus Pulse series. So my name is Blake Gieseking, and I'm one of the university account managers here at Off-Campus Partners. I'm based in Charlottesville, Virginia, and have been part of the team for a little over 3 years now. And so I'll go over our agenda briefly, but we'll have a brief introduction and who we are as Off-Campus Partners. Um, do a quick overview of Off-Campus Pulse, our vision for the webinar series, and then we'll pass it off to Leah Paulson to walk through a presentation on engaging campus and community. That'll be followed by a short Q&A to give Leah some time to answer some questions directly, and then we'll be randomly sorted into breakout rooms where you can discuss what you've heard, problem solve, network, and share with your colleagues from across the country. Then we're going to wrap up the call and ask for some of your feedback on how you felt about this event, as well as asking you for feedback on future topics. So please be sure to stay through the end and let us know what your thoughts are. So some logistics and housekeeping. The session is going to be recorded. Notes are going to be shared with everybody later, along with any additional resources that may be put together. And even if your question isn't answered live, we'll be sure to include an answer for your question in a follow-up notes. So be sure to use the Q&A feature for large group questions. There's a chat and a Q&A, but that Q&A function will really help us keep track of any questions that were answered live and also helps keep the chat organized. So the breakout rooms are for collaborative open discussions and will include one moderator in each. And this is your time to discuss in those smaller groups where we'll provide some prompts and potential questions to get you started. And you can also turn on closed captions if that's helpful. So a quick introduction of off-campus partners. So since this event is not restricted only to our partners, I wanted to give a quick overview of who we are and what we do at OCP. So our company was started by students for students over 23 years ago, and our mission is to simplify the off-campus housing experience for universities, students, and property managers. The way we do that is by partnering with over 150 colleges and universities across the country to provide a customized off-campus housing website to help students find housing, find roommates, and provide educational resources all in one place. So while the primary resource we provide as part of our partnership is our off-campus housing websites, we also have a fully dedicated team that's here to support and provide additional services to our partners like housing fair support, marketing materials, property lister support, and more. So our team at OCP consists of university account managers like myself, product management, IT development, customer support, marketing, accounting, and sales. So we have, it's a small but mighty team. And as you know, we are also a part of the apartments.com network, who is the largest provider of rental listings in the United States. We work very closely with their team of over 450 local sales representatives to provide the highest diversity of listings, listing inventory for your students. And so going over a little bit of what happened in 2024, since we're right here at the beginning of 2025, just a quick recap. We had 4.2 million site visitors come to our site. That's so exciting to see that threshold continuing to bump up and up and up year over year. We supported 120 housing fairs and helped over 50,000 students network with other students to find their roommates. We resolved nearly 26,000 cases from students and property listers while maintaining a 97% CSAT score. And that's a way of evaluating customer satisfaction. So to give you an idea, a good CSAT score typically falls between 75 and 85%. So obtaining a near perfect score as our customer support team has is extremely difficult. And as you can see, we take pride in our support for our students, property listers, and partners. We also added 7 new partnerships this last year, excited to grow our relationships with each of these universities and help support their students. So enough about us, back to how we hope to support our partners through Off-Campus Pulse. So as I mentioned, this is a second webinar in this educational series. It's a new initiative that's aimed at enhancing collaboration among higher education institutions across the country, and this initiative aligns perfectly with our mission to simplify and continuously improve the off-campus experience for our students. So an experience we know is very challenging and very stressful. So we recognize that there are typically limited resources dedicated to off-campus student needs, and nationwide 78% of all students, which is about 8.6 million, have to find off-campus housing. So this series is named for its focus on staying current and is designed to help us continually adapt and evolve to the ever-changing needs of students and market trends. Pulse offers valuable insights, strategies, and roundtable discussions to improve your students' off-campus experience through facilitated discussions and information sharing. All right, so as a quick introduction for Leah, She's been working with student affairs for the last 10 years at a couple of different universities in Pennsylvania, and she started working out of residence life and on-campus housing operations. She spent the last 3 years at Temple University in Philadelphia, focusing on the off-campus student population and helping to launch Temple's off-campus living office. So Leah earned a Bachelor's of Arts and Master of Education from Lehigh University and completed her Doctor of Education at Vanderbilt University last summer, where her capstone project focused around data-informed decision-making in higher education. You're going to get some good information today. So she's been a phenomenal partner to work with and really strives to serve her students to the best of her ability with a small but mighty team, as many of you are as well. So we hear from so many of our partners who are struggling to do more with less. And so supporting your off-campus students is just a small piece of your day-to-day for many of you. So we hope you're able to walk away from this session with new ideas on how to manageably engage your students, staff members, property listers, and city officials. All right, take it away, Leah.
All right. Thanks, Blake. Hopefully I can live up to that hype. So thank you. But yeah, thank you so much for being here and OCP for having me. I'm excited to talk to you about some of my experiences and hear from you all. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about Temple and the off-campus living office I oversee, and then I'll go into some of the specific ways we engage students, property managers, and campus and community partners. So I think it's really important to start talking a little bit about Temple because off-campus living is so different at every institution. So for anyone who hasn't heard about Temple, we're located in Philadelphia, sixth biggest city in the US. There are a lot of universities in the city, and we are really proud to be Philly's public institution, and we really prioritize access and affordability. We have about 30,000 students, about 5,000 of them live on campus. Over half of our students are Pennsylvania residents. About 80% of all of our students live off campus or commute, and we're working on better mapping where students are living and separating out off campus versus commuter students. So ask me in a few months, and I'll hopefully have a better idea of how many students are living immediately around campus versus other parts of the city versus commuting. So work in progress. So our off-campus living office at Temple officially opened in fall 2023. Temple's housing unit initiated a partnership with OCP long before that and before my time at Temple, which started pretty hands-off, like just the listing service as in other duties as assigned part of a coordinator's role. I started as a member of the ops team at Temple, and then my current role was created in summer 2023 because there was growing support to have a full-fledged office to support students living off campus. So I planned a grand opening for the office, had our student graphic designers make an office logo. These are some examples, the drafts that they kind of mocked up for us. And we had some like announcements and articles posted, hand delivered, invites to properties, involve campus partners. And since off-campus living kind of ebbed and flowed at Temple over the last decade, I really wanted this to be like the time we make it stick and make it a sustainable operation for years to come. So the best piece of advice I got while preparing to launch the office was to be very focused. So before the office opened, we wrote a mission for the office and made marketing materials reflecting them so we could really clearly communicate what the office's focus would be. And our three main goals and or outcomes for students are listed here in our mission. And these will likely evolve over time, but is how it stands right now. And on the next slide is an example of some of the marketing we created and shared out with our mission. The white text outlines what we can help with, and the yellow is what we don't do. Got to set some boundaries because we can't be everything for everyone. So for the first 10-ish months, I was a team of one. So I tried really hard to balance getting the word out about the office and being really clear about what our focuses were to make it manageable for a small team. And then I just want to touch briefly on how I'm trying to continue to create buy-in and advocate for the future of OCL, which is my acronym for our office at Temple. I know the text is small here because these are just screenshots of a presentation I made internally to our senior leadership last summer. So about 6 months after the office officially opened, I went through about 10 slides with our VP and her chief of staff about the future of the office and what I thought we'd need to get there, framed in this STP format. So situation, target, and proposal. So top right is a highlight of the benchmarking I did with some peer groups. There are actually some people on this call that I talked to do benchmarking, so thank you. Bottom right are some goals I identified that aligned with university and divisional targets, and then not pictured was a 3-year plan for accomplishing them. And I won't go into any more detail about this because we have plenty of other things to chat about, but I'm happy to offline if anyone's interested because this was really kind of a turning point for our office. And these are just a few of the things I'm most proud of from year one, which are that our team grew from one, just me, to two. I now have a part-time administrative coordinator. So huge shout out to Victoria, who's not here today because she's a grad student and she's on spring break. But I'm not exaggerating when I say she has changed my life. So we also started off borrowing the student staff I supervised for the housing team. So working at our OCL window was kind of an add-on to their existing job. But this upcoming year, we'll have our own dedicated student staff team, which is exciting. Um, we also logged 700 interactions in our first year. So this was with the help of our frontline student staff team handling some walk-ins and phone calls, plus students and families reaching out to me personally before we had an office email address. So I know that number is going to continue to grow as we grow our capacity. But our housing team uses a ticketing system called Helix. So when the office opened, I created a subset of categories for off-campus inquiries, and then we transitioned to having our own queue that links to the departmental email we set up. And we couldn't do everything at once, but created these centralized lines of communication, like the email address and social media, over the few months immediately before and after the office opened. And we're also moving to a brand new portfolio within our Division of Student Affairs called Student Advocacy, which is really exciting and aligns with the mission for the office. So for the back half of my slides today, I'm going to highlight a few ways we engage students, property managers, and other members of our community. So I just want to reiterate too, I know that the off-campus living equivalent at every school is different. So I'm not suggesting what works for us is going to work everywhere. And some of these things may also seem super basic, but I know I always get inspired hearing what other people are doing. So hopefully, if nothing else, it'll be the start of some conversations on what we're doing on our campuses and how we can learn from each other. So first, for our students at Temple, we have to make it as convenient as possible to get them to engage with us. So first is online, and we like to mix synchronous and asynchronous opportunities to connect. Not every student is going to come to a webinar or live event. We actually get more parents and families than students at webinars and things usually. So we try to provide opportunities for students to engage with us on their own time as well. And so we found that many students just want to find information themselves and don't always want to interact with a human to find it. So we've been creating some tutorials on our social media and lots of carousels with different information. And then we have digital resources like our off-campus living guide, which I've got a couple screenshots of on this slide too. So we're able to get a ton of great data, which I've highlighted on this next slide from our off-campus website that helps us show how many students are actually using our resources. So the OCP folks help us get data like site views, the top viewed pages across the site. This is our full year 2023 graphics. This is an older one, but we also have some year-over-year comparisons by month and other metrics. So overall, just great data to share out to demonstrate the value and impact of having this service for students. And we also share our number of active student accounts. Most of the site is public and doesn't require a login. So I know a lot of folks on this call know that because y'all are partners with OCP, but students don't have to create an account unless they do things like send inquiries to properties or search for roommates. But we've had over 4,000 Temple students make a profile in the last 2 years, which is about a quarter of all students not living on campus at any given time, which is pretty significant. I also created a listserv for these students with active accounts, so they receive some targeted communications from us. So while we do try to be as online as possible to connect with students, we also try to make ourselves super visible for events like our off-campus housing fairs and some collaborative events where we choose high traffic areas of campus. Our public safety folks actually monitor security cam footage, and for their events, they literally choose locations based off of foot traffic that they see. So they're an amazing partner when we do things with them. We also have a couple very central outdoor locations on our campus. So we choose the most in-your-face locations to host events like housing fairs. We, in general, on our campus don't have great success just trying to get students to come to a big room in the student center unless you have like someone famous coming, which is not in our budget. So we just plop ourselves right in students' faces. Of course, we still market our events, but we also just want to reach students that might not even know they need help, but just happen to be passing by and maybe they'll get something out of it. So we've also expanded our fairs to include campus partners, in addition to our local properties who have always been, the star of it. And we had our biggest fair ever this fall because we worked with our new student programs office to schedule it during homecoming and family weekend. So that also made it super visible. So in addition to events that we host ourselves, we also join existing events like Admitted Students Days and our student org and department showcases called Temple Fest. And our relationships with campus partners have also led to tons of opportunities, like our information being included in new student orientation modules and being invited to speak with a first year seminar and being embedded into our student org accreditation process. So we're just trying to hit students from all angles. And again, we are an office of two, one full-time professional and one part-time grad. So we're kind of at capacity with all of these things right now, but hope to continue finding ways to get in front of students as we continue to grow and have more capacity. And these are all 100% because of relationships with folks across campus. I found that even at a huge school like Temple, most of the time when I reach out to folks, they're excited to hear from you. And even though I've been at Temple more than like 3.5 or so years, and the office has existed almost a year and a half now, I still reach out to people all the time like, hey, our office exists, and I think we could support your work in this way or collaborate in this way. So that, cold emailing, really, things like that just has opened so many doors on our campus. So being a school in the city of Philadelphia has some quirks. So I'm in pretty frequent communication with our property managers, and having good relationships with them and opening those lines of communication really does nothing but benefit our students. So building relationships with them is also really important to us. And just like with students, we try really hard to meet them where it's most convenient, and we don't have all the time in the world to regularly tour every single property. I don't know if it's on a slide I already mentioned or one coming up, but we have over 1,000 listings on our site, so that's just not feasible for our team to get out to every single one regularly. But we do try to get out into our neighborhood as much as possible, and especially this year have been getting out to properties and letting them show us around like we're a student, take us on a tour. So we also invite them to campus for various things, from events to tabling, just coming by the office, and try to share all the ways they can get in front of students, which is a big priority for them. And Philly requires any property looking to rent to have a rental license, which is good for 1 calendar year. So we've made that a prerequisite for listing on our site, because having a license means they can legally rent a property because it's zoned properly and up to code. And I know I've talked to folks at other universities who literally go out and check a lot of these things. So I consider us very lucky that the city requires that, because we do not have the capacity or expertise to be checking on smoke detectors or other code things. That's the city's lane, and so we do not enter it. But we have, I just mentioned over about 1,000 listings on our site, and the OCP team has very graciously worked with me to create a field in the listing application for landlords to upload their rental license and enter the expiration, so that it automatically emails them when their license is about to expire, and then moves them back to our pending queue if they don't upload one before it expires. So we're in pretty constant touch with them about licensing. Another way that we engage property managers is through our Best Nest program. And this is a landlord self-certification program that's based on a number of safety and good neighbor behaviors, including things like having adequate lighting at their properties, exterior video cameras, trash and recycling bins, and a few other things. And there's a bunch of documentations that landlords submit with their applications, and about 10 steps we go through to approve each application. Once a property is approved, they get a badge on their listing to show that they're a part of the program. And this certification is renewed annually, and if they don't resubmit, their badge is removed from our site. And we've worked with the OCP folks to make a custom community feature that students can use to sort just for properties participating in this program. And so far in 2025, we have 27 properties approved and a couple pending, most of which are our purpose-built student housing properties, so high rises, with some multifamily properties, so row home style, thrown in there. And between them, there are over 5,600 beds. And this number stayed pretty consistent since we started the program in 2022, and we're hoping to continue to grow it. So one day there would be enough certified beds so that all 20,000-ish students living off campus could live in a property going the extra mile to support their safety if they wanted to. Not that they would, but that would be a great goal for the future. And the last way I'll highlight for how we engage property managers is regularly collecting occupancy from the big properties surrounding campus. I know that some softwares exist that can get this information for you, but to be honest, we don't have the budget to pay for something like that. And a monthly check-in is also just a good touch point with our properties, because we don't physically see them all the time. It's a great way to keep the lines of communication open, especially because there's a lot of staff transition at some of our properties. So it keeps me in the know when folks leave. So I always have a contact for these properties. And collecting this info has also allowed me to assess year-over-year occupancy at these properties and identify trends, and it helps us refer students where we know there's availability. And this data has also been super useful to inform some new projects. One example I'm really excited about is a partnership with our basic needs team on an affordable housing proposal to repurpose empty beds for students experiencing housing insecurity. So knowing which properties have had their occupancy trending down over the last few years has been helpful for that purpose. And so collecting data to share internally helps us both maintain connections with our property managers and identify some new opportunities to partner with folks on campus and kind of better integrate some of these properties through programs like this. Okay, so we made it to the final section, and I've mentioned our campus partners throughout because they really are the best, but I just wanted to highlight a few ways we engage the greater Temple community. We use our site to host content for collaborations, including our TU Move program, which is a trash collection program that our COO's office spearheads but lives on our site. We also have a law student organization that started offering a landlord-tenant help service, and the sign up for their office hours also lives on our site. We also work with some offices, and highlighted here is our Office of Sustainability, that we handpicked some resources from their site relevant to off-campus students and made a page linking all those specifically. So our site's really becoming a way to collect relevant things other folks are doing and have them live somewhere central. I also wanted to share one example of how we've been responsive to some campus partners in creating some resources that benefit students on the next slide. So our most recent collaboration was with our Wellness Resource Center, and they have support services for students in recovery. So they came to me with the idea to create some resources about finding a substance-free living experience. So our OCP friends helped us create some custom questions in the roommate matching questionnaire. We made a little info tip on the alcohol-free filter that already exists on the search page. And then we made a student and landlord resource guide so students can make choices that align with the experience they're looking for. So we're really just trying to make the most of the resources that exist and tap into other folks' expertise to kind of maximize the use of our site and how we can be impactful on campus. We also embed a lot of our city's resources on our site, and we try to amplify what is going on in the city and neighborhood on our social media. So obviously, as a super small office, we can't be everything for everyone. Temple's also a huge institution in the huge city of Philadelphia, so we don't want to duplicate work or like step into someone else's lane because we're not the experts on everything. So highlighting what folks are doing, whether it's campus partners or city partners, is really important to us. And I just wanted to end on the next slide with highlighting a few exciting things we're working on with campus partners, because the biggest part of getting buy-in and legitimizing our work has been showing how our work is so intertwined with so many facets of campus. So first, the TU Move program that I mentioned a minute ago was originally created to reduce the impact on our neighbors of the trash heaps that used to pile up all over during move out. And this year it's expanding to partner with Habitat for Humanity. So students are going to be able to tag their items to be donated if they're still in good condition. So we're hoping to both reduce waste and then promote discounted sustainable furniture options for the community. Temple's Good Neighbor Initiative is something that's been around since 2011, so far precedes me, but I've had the opportunity to lead this group over the last year with partners from all over campus listed here, and it's opened a ton of doors on how we can collaborate and where we have gaps in serving students. And a lot of the opportunities I mentioned throughout this presentation came from relationships with folks in this group. And the last one I'll highlight here is we've been trying really hard to get a better idea of where our students are living. So our folks from institutional research are helping me map our last 5 years of self-reported student address data to see the trends of where students are living over time, particularly since there's been a big push at Temple to get students to move closer to campus over the last few years. So I feel like these examples just put an exclamation point on how crucial partnerships are to getting things done, especially when you have a small team of one and a half now, hopefully continuing to grow. And I honestly feel like the best part of working in off-campus living is that our offices don't exist everywhere. So we have a lot of freedom to be creative and shape it to be responsive to our specific students and communities. So I have talked plenty and hopefully did not put anyone to sleep. But the next portion, I'll give it back to Jalissa and Blake to take it out.
Oh, sorry. We actually have a couple of questions. So one was about listing approval. I answered that in the chat already, but just a quick answer for it. We do have the ability to add a listing approval process before those listings go live. So be sure to talk with your university account manager like myself. We can talk through what that process is in more detail with you. But so Matt Williams asked, are your online resources like the guidebook housed on an institutional webpage or within the OCP site? I know the answer, but I think you should answer.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, they're all housed on our off-campus website. So right now we live under the university housing portfolio. So on the housing page, which is like an official like university page, they also have an off-campus living area and it links to our site. So if people are looking for anything off-campus related, they go to our off-campus website and that's where everything lives. Yeah. And then I just wanted to add too, I know you answered Kimberly's question. But we do also, yeah, we have like an approval process in our office. So we touch every single listing that comes in. And so Victoria, like I said, has changed my life. She's a grad that is working with me, but looks at every single listing that comes in, make sure the rental license is legit and the date like matches, and like manually approves them. So that is a little bit arduous, but she's amazing. And I used to do that myself, so I know the pain, and I help her where I can.
Yeah, it can definitely be a little overwhelming, especially when you have a lot of property listings and inventory in your area.